Ukraine says its slow-grinding counteroffensive is showing noticeable success in the south. It posted this video reportedly showing Ukrainian strikes in the Tavria sector on Wednesday. Ukraine says it destroyed the equivalent of 3 Russian companies over the last day, and its troops continue to advance. But Russian President Vladimir Putin claims, without evidence, that Ukraine paused its offensive because of serious losses. CNN's Ben Wiedemann went to a recently liberated village in southern Ukraine that's still taking Russian artillery fire. And we have to warn you, some of the images you're about to see are graphic.
An unknown Russian soldier lost his life here on a dirt road in the small village of Neskuchny. He was killed in Ukraine's counteroffensive, which has, at best so far, put a small dent in Russian lines, hardly the turning point so many had hoped for. This is one of the villages that was liberated by the Ukrainians, this one on the 10th of June. And clearly the Russians were in a hurry. They left behind this blood-soaked stretcher. It's still too dangerous for civilians to return to these once tranquil farming communities, and there isn't much left for them to return to. The mortar crew of the 35th Ukrainian Marine Brigade has moved into a house recently vacated by Russian troops. This afternoon, they're busy piling up newly arrived American-made shells. Far better than the old Soviet ammunition, says Andriy. Amazing. They're just great, he says. They hit the bullseye, my favorite. Throughout the day, shelling echoes around them. The Russians may have left the village, yet they're still nearby. Yuri's mortar training in Britain didn't prepare him for the front. This is only his 3rd day in the line of fire. There are moments when I want to hide, he says, but I have to stay put and wait. Unit Commander Alexander takes coordinates from headquarters. His men make the adjustments and prepare the rounds. They're firing these rounds at Russian lines, which are 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles away. It's going to be a long, hot summer. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, on Ukraine's southern front.
We are getting word of a Ukrainian strike on a bridge known as the Gate to Crimea. A Russian-installed official says the attack targeted the bridge near the town of Chonhar, connecting the peninsula with the occupied part of southern Ukraine. The official says the British-supplied Storm Shadow missiles may have been used in that strike. And our Nick Robertson joins us now from London. So, Nick, what more can you tell us about this shelling of a bridge?
Well, if the shelling has done what the Ukrainians would have intended it to do, it would have disrupted the flow of traffic across that bridge. And it appears to have done that because those Russian-backed officials there in that region are saying that the traffic has now been moved off that bridge and moved to alternate roads. This would be typical of what would be considered a shaping measure, if you will, in military parlance. Because if the bridge is shut, if that particular bridge, and it's about 100 or so meters long, is shut to traffic, then the traffic that goes from Crimea into the south, the rest of Ukraine, into the Kherson region, has to move to an alternate route. And there are only a couple of other significant major roads to do that. And in fact, it's very significant because it is effectively, at the moment, it appears to have shut down the easternmost road that comes out of Crimea into the Kherson region and forcing the traffic to go to the west. This is not a significant gain in of itself, but it's a tactic that we've seen Ukraine use in the past. And the fact that the Russian-backed officials say that this was perhaps long-range British-supplied Storm Shadow missiles give an indication of where the Ukrainians are willing to put and expend this expensive and very useful and not so plentiful technology that they have. So it's an indication of how they're trying to shape the battlefield at the moment, which really will constrict Russia's ability to easily and readily supply additional forces, fuel, etc., out of Crimea into the rest of Ukraine, which is typically what it's been doing. Now, President Zelensky has been speaking about the current offensive, and he's been talking about how it is underway both in the east and in the south.
Перший фронт. Жорсткі бої, південь.
On the front lines, fierce battles. In the south, we are destroying the enemy. In the Donetsk region, we are destroying the enemy. In the Kupiansk direction, no matter what the Russian terrorists plan there, we will destroy the enemy.
За кожен збитий.
Now, Zelensky's assessment also seems to be that although they're making gains and destroying the enemy and biting away, as one of his officials said, at the Russian lines, perhaps this counteroffensive is not going in the direction they wanted. However, when you look at the incident around the Chonhar Bridge and the fact that other Ukrainian officials have said that that there is much more to come, it again just shows how hard it is to predict the shape that this offensive is going to take.
And Nick, billions of dollars have been pledged at the Ukraine Recovery Conference in London. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's a significant amount of money and a significant effort as well to try to get private businesses to invest in Ukraine. And the British Prime Minister put forward a formula or a plan, a framework, as he called it, to provide insurance, war zone insurance, to help protect investments by businesses. The World Bank said that Ukraine needs $411 billion at the moment to rebuild, and that's more than can be shouldered by governments that are supplying funds at the moment. You know, the World Bank, the European Union, the United States, the UK, and a number of other countries, all at that conference yesterday, more than 50 of them, all said that they were going to increase the amount of money that they're spending. But none of it comes close to that 411 billion. And that's what this conference was designed to do, to spread the cost beyond government into private business.